My name is Todd, and I'm going to do a quick first flight setup. A number of people ask me basically what to do about first time setup and first flight. These things are fully set up and configured when you get them. I've already done an initial setup video showing you what you need to do when you first get it indoors. Now we're coming outdoors and let's try flying it. All right. First thing we want to do is mount the battery pack. I've moved the battery tray from the back to the middle. I'm not flying with a gimbal. I want to try to keep all my weight balanced, center massed, keep the thing balanced. Strap the battery in securely. Try to find a somewhat level spot to start off from if you can. Our next thing we want to do is plug in the LiPo alarm. Let the LiPo alarm hang down. There's also a power module that you can purchase if you want to use. And what the power module does is it connects between the main power supply and the battery. If you're using wireless telemetry, basically lets you monitor the voltage and the current wirelessly from whatever device you're in the ground control station from. I suggest to all the buyers that they use the ground control station and the telemetry whenever they fly these things. The reason being is, for some reason this thing gets a mind of its own and takes off. When this thing finally hits ground and loses power, you'll have somewhat approximate idea of where it's at. That way you won't lose your investment. Only had one flyaway with these things, and he wasn't flying with the ground control station enabled, and he got it more than 40 meters out. He got it, actually he flew it so far away that he couldn't even see it anymore. When it gets to that range, you run the risk of losing signal with your transmitter, and if the fail safes aren't set, it's gone. Since then, I've been setting up the fail safes by default. That way when you get it, if you do lose transmitter reception, it'll RTL on its own, or return to launch where it was initialized from. So you want to plug up the LiPo alarm. I'm going to take your transmitter, make sure all your toggle switches and the knobs are all centered. Make sure the switches are all in their upright position. Make sure the throttle stick is down. We want to first power up the transmitter. Make sure your trims are all centered. Now we want to power up the aircraft. Once you power the aircraft up, don't touch it. Just walk away from it for at least 30-45 seconds, especially for the first flight. You want to give the autopilot time to adjust and get used to the change of environment. During this time, while you're waiting, this is you can use it to go ahead and connect your ground control station and get a telemetry feed. Once everything is plugged in and up and running, in order to disarm the motors, we want to hold the throttle stick down to the bottom right for 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. Let off the stick, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. Easily nudge up on the throttle. Make sure the motors have got power, and they do. Come back down with it. Alright? Now, these are set up to the point to where all you've got to do is give it just a little bit of throttle and a little bit of input. It's off the ground. This particular setup has a lot of power. It's made to carry a fairly large battery pack, 4500, 5000 milliamp 4-cell, along with a stabilized camera mount. Cameras weighing as much as 500-600 grams. For the initial flight, I suggest not flying with the gimbal. It's just slide around first, get used to the controls and how it handles, and make sure everything's working properly. Okay? Now, whenever you're not flying this thing, I just landed it, make sure as soon as this thing hits the ground, you disarm the motors. You do that by holding the stick to the bottom left-hand corner. Okay? 5 seconds. Just to be on the safe side. When you get ready to fly again, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. You see how I lifted up off the ground on its own without me giving it any roll or pitch movement? Again, this thing has a lot of power, so it's going to be just a little bit touchy on the throttle and on the sticks when you're flying with just one battery on it. What you can do, put a little more weight on it, strap both batteries to it. You don't necessarily have to plug both batteries up, but you can strap both on, just kind of give it a little more weight, make it a little more stable. What we want to do is just fly it around for a little bit in your backyard. Keep it within 40 meters for the first 3 or 4 flights. Don't take it out so far that you can't see it. If you do, you might lose it. Do a little stick banging. Make sure everything's fastened securely. After a few flights, when you get comfortable with it, what you can do then, start trying out the modes. That's altitude hold. Again, this is a light setup, so what I've had to do in altitude hold mode is back off on the throttle just a little bit. You basically use the throttle to kind of fine tune and adjust the altitude hold using just a barrow. Still just a little bit jerky, can tune the PIDs, but for the most part it suffices for the moment. After a flight or two in altitude mode, you can flip it then to GPS position hold mode, which is now in. Basically what we're doing is going through the modes, testing everything. You want to get at least 6 good flights, 6 consecutive flights with no issue. Whoa. See what I did there is I had it in altitude hold mode. When I flipped out of it, I forgot to pull my throttle back down and it shot up with me. You have to be mindful of things like that. I've been flying these things for a long time and I still make mistakes from time to time. But fortunately, with these setups, they're pretty forgiving. And so I just killed the power to it, just to kind of show you that it drops 3 or 4 feet off the ground. It's not going to do any real damage. And again, before you approach this thing when the battery's plugged up, make sure you disarm the motors. Bottom left-hand corner. All you got to do is snap the landing, get back going. Keep flying. These are pretty nice flying quads. I'm running 13-inch props on these right now. I can turn up to a 14-inch prop. Actually, if you wanted to be a little more docile for learning, 12-inch props would be more ideal, but 13s are a good happy medium. That's usually what I ship them out with. Again, get a few flights in your backyard or at a park. Keep it close. Don't keep it close to yourself, but keep it within 40 meters if you can. Do a little bit of roll, a little bit of pitch, yaw it a little bit. Be careful, if you're not used to orientation yet, don't yaw it all the way around 360 degrees. That's the easy way to lose orientation and end up running into something. When the battery starts getting low, the LiPo alarm is going to start sounding off. Very audible. You're not going to miss it. When you land, make sure you disarm the motor. Make sure you disarm the motors. Excuse me. When you run in the ground control station and telemetry, it'll let you know when the motors are disarmed. First thing we want to do, we're done flying, disconnect the main power supply. All right? Then power down the transmitter. That's it.